Before the sun has fully kissed the sky, before the noise of the day dares into your ears, let this moment be your stillness. Let this devotion be your breath, your beginning. For you, dear soul, are alive, and that is no small miracle. Listen, child, not with your ears, but with your spirit, because what I speak today is not a performance, it is a prayer. It is a river of truth that has run through generations, through cotton fields and concrete jungles, through silence and through song, and it has now arrived just for you. This morning is not just the breaking of a new day, it is the unfolding of your becoming. It is the whisper of God reminding you, you are still here, and you still matter. It is the ancestors humming in your bloodstream, saying, rise, child, rise with the dignity of those who came before you. Let the light kiss your face like your mother once did. Let the stillness wrap around your shoulders like your grandmother's shawl. Let the air in your lungs be a hymn, a testimony that grace woke you up again. You do not wake by accident, you rise on purpose. You open your eyes not into chaos, but into calling. There is something in you today that the world needs. A word, a smile, a truth, a fire. So before the world begins to ask of you, return to yourself. Sit with this stillness. Let this devotion be your nourishment. Let it touch your dry places. Fill your broken spaces and remind you, you are the sacred echo of survival. You are the miracle of morning. Your silence was never weakness. It was the pause before the storm. You were silent, but you were not weak. You held your breath in the shadow of pain, your voice trapped behind walls built by fear, by grief, by a world that told you to hush. But hear this truth. Your silence was not a cage. It was a gathering place, a sacred pause before the storm. Silence is not shame. Silence is not surrender. Silence is the soil where your roots grew deep, where your spirit found its quiet strength. Like the seed beneath the frost, hidden and still, but ready to break through, to rise, to reach. Like the night sky before lightning strikes, holding all its power, all its promise, in waiting. Maya Angelou knew this silence well. A child silenced by trauma, a young girl who did not speak for years, yet inside her a fire burned, a thunder growing. She said, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. And when her voice finally broke free, it shook the world. Fierce, radiant, unbreakable. So listen, beloved, your quiet was not absence, it was the calm before your thunder. It was your strength gathering wings, your soul preparing to soar. What if your silence was your training ground? What if the story you buried deep inside is the light that will free someone else's shadow? Do not fear your voice any longer. Rise now. Let your voice catch the wind. Bold, fearless, undeniable. Speak because you were made to speak. Lead because you were made to lead. Break the silence and let the storm come. For you are more than your silence. You are the storm. You are the wings. You are the song waiting to be sung. Still I rise, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. You have felt the weight, haven't you? The heavy hands of hurt that tried to hold you down, but still you rise, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. Because pain is not your enemy, it is the fire that tempers your steel, the storm that lifts your wings. You were silent, but you were not weak. You bore the dark nights of your soul alone, carrying shadows no one saw, wounds no one named. But know this, your silence was not emptiness. It was the soil where your strength took root, deep, unshakable. Maya Angelou knew this truth in her bones. A child silenced by trauma, by fear, by a world that tried to drown her voice. Yet inside her heart, a song was rising, a song that no cage could hold back. She whispered, "You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. So, beloved, listen close. Your pain is not a chain, it is your wings. Your struggle is not your prison, but your platform. Your scars are not signs of defeat, but the script of survival written on your skin. What if your silence was your training ground? What if your story, the one you hid away, is the very light that will set others free? You were born to rise, to roar, to reclaim your truth. Now is the time to shake off the dust, to lift your head, to spread your wings wide, to rise higher, louder, prouder than ever before. Rise because the world needs your fire. Rise because your voice is your power. Rise because you are unstoppable, unbreakable, undeniable. Still, you are the poem your ancestors dreamed of. You are a song written on the wind, a story whispered through generations, a poem your ancestors dreamed of long before you took your first breath. You were silent, but you were not weak. You carried the weight of history in your bones, the hush of voices stolen by fear, by chains, by silence forced upon you. But listen well, your silence was never shame. It was the sacred pause before the dawn. Maya Angelou knew this truth deep within her heart. A child silenced by trauma, a voice locked in shadows for years. Yet in that silence, she found her strength. Her voice a roaring river that would shake the very foundations of the world. She said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." But oh, when her story broke free, it became a beacon, a blaze, a liberation song. So, beloved, you must know, you are not empty. You are the legacy of those who walked through fire so you could stand in light. Your scars are their prayers, your breath, their hope. You are the poem sung in secret, the dream dreamed in chains, the fire passed down through time. What if your silence was your training ground? What if the story you buried deep is the key to unlocking someone else's prison? Rise now. Let your voice catch the wind. Let your spirit spread its wings. Stand tall, for you are the living poem, the dream made flesh, the song that cannot be silenced. You are the promise, your ancestors planted in the soil, and the world is waiting for you to rise and be heard. The shape of your soul is not defined by the world's wounds. You are not the scars the world has tried to carve upon you. You are not the cracks left by the storms you've weathered. No, the shape of your soul is not defined by the world's wounds. It is shaped by the fire within, the roots that dig deep, and the wings ready to soar. You were silent, but you were not weak. You held your breath beneath the weight of pain, hidden away by fear, by silence forced upon you, by the shadows of doubt. But hear this. Silence is not shame, nor is it surrender. It is the sacred space where strength gathers, where power waits, where transformation begins. Maya Angelou knew this truth well. A child silenced by trauma, a young girl who did not speak for years, yet inside, a voice fierce as a storm was growing, ready to break free and shake the world. She said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." But from that agony came a song that would echo beyond borders and time. Beloved, your silence was never emptiness. It was a gathering of lightning, a preparation for your rise. Your wounds are not your prison. They are your maps, your stories of survival. What if your silence was your training ground? What if the story you buried deep inside is the key to unlock someone else's freedom? Now is your moment. Feel the wind catch your wings. Hear the call of your own voice. Strong, unyielding, radiant. Rise up. Speak out. Become the storm, the fire, the song you were born to be. When you speak, you sing, and the world listens. There is a song inside you, a melody born from the deepest chambers of your soul, waiting for the moment it can break free. You were silent, but you are not weak. You held your breath, locked in shadows, hidden by fear and silence forced upon you. But understand this, your silence was never shame. It was a sacred gathering of strength, a quiet rehearsal before the grand symphony of your voice fills the world. Maya Angelou knew this silence. A child silenced by trauma, a young girl who did not speak for years, yet inside her a fire kindled, a fire that would one day sing so loud it shook the earth. She said there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. And when she finally sang, the world did not just hear her, it listened. Beloved, your voice is not a whisper. It is a song with wings, rising beyond pain and fear, soaring beyond cages and doubt. What if your silence was your training ground? What if the story you bury deep inside is the very song that will set someone else free? Now feel the wind catching your wings. Listen as your voice rises, rich and clear, a river breaking through ice. Speak not just to be heard, but to sing, to heal, to lead. Rise now. Let your voice become the anthem of your life. Powerful, unyielding, beautiful. For when you speak, you do not just speak, you sing, and the world listens. Phenomenal is not a compliment. It's your birthright. Phenomenal is not a word thrown at you lightly. It is a crown placed upon your head by the ancestors who fought, who bled, who dared to dream. You were silent, that way who were not weak. You stood in the shadows, shaped by trauma, by fear, by silence imposed. But hear me, silence is not shame. Silence is the sacred forge where your strength was shaped, where your power gathered, waiting, growing, ready to blaze. Maya Angelou, a child silenced by pain, a voice locked away in the quiet years, yet within her heart a fierce flame burned, a flame that rose, unyielding, unbreakable, unstoppable. She said, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. And when she released her story, it did not whisper. It roared like thunder across the skies of the world. Beloved, phenomenal is not a compliment. It is your birthright. It is a song written in your DNA, the fire that courses through your veins, the wings that were always meant to carry you higher. What if your silence was your training ground? What if the story you bury deep is the very light someone else needs to see? Now, feel the wind. Catch your wings. Hear your voice rise, strong and true, a storm breaking free from the cage. Stand tall, speak loud. You are phenomenal, not because of what you have endured, but because you have risen again and again and will rise forevermore. Rise, beloved soul. Rise with the fire of the sun behind your eyes, with the fierce rhythm of your heartbeat, like thunder in your chest. Rise not as a whisper, but as a roar, a force of nature uncontainable, unstoppable. For every time you fall, every time the world knocks you down, you are not broken. You are gathering strength, gathering wind beneath your wings. You were silent, but you are not weak. You carried storms inside you, quiet storms, fierce and deep. And now the silence is over. Now your voice is a river breaking through ice, a bird breaking free from its cage. Remember Maya's words, echoing through the halls of time. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. This is your anthem. You're called to rise, not just once, but every day, every hour, every moment you choose to stand. Your pain is not your prison. It's the wellspring of your power. Your wounds are not your shame. They are the roots from which you grow higher and stronger. When you rise, you do not just return. You begin again, reborn with the wisdom of every hardship, every tear, every silent prayer whispered in the dark. So rise with the weight of your ancestors on your back, with the dreams of the future burning bright in your heart. Rise with the knowledge that you are more than your scars, more than your silence, more than the world has ever dared to believe. And as you rise, stand tall, speak loud, move forward with the grace and power that is your birthright. Rise and begin again, because your story is not finished. Your song is only just beginning.